Hello everyone, I'm Jake of the OneManBand, and I've been gone from YouTube for almost 7 months. It's kind of crazy going back to my channel and actually looking at my last real upload and seeing that it was almost 7 months ago. Now, this is a video to anyone still out there who is still subscribed to the channel, is still, a fan, or anyone who really just gives a damn about anything. But this video needs to be made both for my sake as well as yours. I need to explain why I have been gone so long from YouTube after being a pretty consistent creator on YouTube for almost 4 or 5 years. Now, I'll be the first to say that every YouTuber hits a burnout state. And that's what happened to me. I simply hit a burnout state with everything going on in my personal life at that moment, and with RWBY Volume 5 going on right there, and it was just too much. I couldn't handle it. Something was going to break. So I decided that I would simply walk away and come back a little bit later, rejuvenated. But you see, RWBY Volume 5, I started out on YouTube as just your average, everyday, just whatever. But then I started to make RWBY videos, and that's where I kind of got my semi-prominent popularity. I was the RWBY guy. I was the guy who reviewed the show and did theories on the show, and eventually other people came, like Murder of Birds, and Hero Hey, and that Kaito Dan, and a lot of other people came in, started to do, reactions, reviews, other stuff like that. And as I continued to watch the show, I would enjoy it. But these last 2 volumes of RWBY, Volume 4 and Volume 5, just really disappointed me in more ways than just, I thought it wasn't as good as the previous ones. You see, because I sort of built my YouTube channel up as one of the big RWBY channels of YouTube, when I went on hiatus because I was burnt out, and when I was sort of getting the groove back that I wanted to come back to YouTube and do stuff again, I would look at what I normally did, which was RWBY. And I didn't have a drive or even a want to do anything with RWBY. I just didn't. I didn't feel like there was anything there for me. Now, here's the big thing. Through the 7 months that I've been gone, I've been doing a lot of thinking. It's a dangerous pastime. I know this. I've been thinking about where I am in my life. I've been thinking about RWBY a lot, and a lot of other stuff. And I would go back and think over RWBY in my head all the time. Because, again, I was one of those RWBY guys. If I came back to YouTube, people would expect me to be doing stuff about RWBY. At least a little bit, right? But the more I thought about it, the more I analyzed, the more I went back and looked at old volumes, the more I looked at the new volumes, I came to the conclusion that RWBY in itself isn't as special as we may have thought it was. It's special in the fact that it's being developed by an American studio, and it's become so popular in Japan, and it has all these merits to it. And that's perfectly fine. perfectly fine. But one of the big things for me that I like from my shows that I watch is story, is the setting. And to be honest, RWBY has just disappointed in those two for a very long time. In the first 3 volumes, it was acceptable. We were just getting into it, and I actually enjoyed, and still enjoy, volumes 1 through 3 because of the kind of story it was telling. But after volume 3, and kind of midway into volume 3, it decided to get a whole lot bigger. And RWBY in the show itself expanded dramatically. It was now a world-encompassing story with all these things going on. And in my opinion, it just doesn't hold up. It doesn't hold up when comparing it to other shows, other series that have done this thing. It doesn't stand up. And as much as I want to enjoy RWBY, as much as I want to continue to be that guy on YouTube, that RWBY guy on YouTube, I feel like deep down, I'm just like, I don't want to. Because how I have come to describe RWBY, it makes itself out. Obviously, it's a spectacle show. It's about the spectacle. It's about the flashy lights, the cool fight scenes, and the crazy weapons. That's what RWBY is about. That is RWBY. And if it just wanted to be that, I would be okay with that. I'd be fine with that. But it also tries to come across as a deep, expansive world with a story and a history and all this stuff going on. And it just falls flat in that sense. And now with the past 2 volumes, the spectacle is kind of gone as well. Look at the finale of Volume 5. There was practically nothing. We had really one good fight scene. And even then it was like over-the-top weird nonsense, kinda. All the fight scenes that we wanted to see were skipped over, and the ending just felt really forced. And so RWBY just seems to be trying to do this balancing act between spectacle and story without committing to one. And I think that's what has really got me with RWBY, is that it isn't committing to what it wants to be. It's not committing to spectacle, it's not committing to story, it just wants to coast on what it is. And you know, that's fine. If it wants to do that, that's fine. But I can't respect a show to the degree that I once did if it wants to do that. Essentially, what this whole thing is building up to is I don't know if I'm going to do RWBY stuff anymore. I mean, I think I've known this for a while, but I'm not really that RWBY guy anymore. There's these other guys out there on YouTube and on Twitch and all that are way more popular than me. Will always be more popular than me, because they're more personable or what have you. I'm just the over-analytical asshole who sits in front of a camera and tries to give RWBY the complexity that I want it to have. But it's never going to be complicated. RWBY is a face value product. What you see is essentially what you get. There are a few twists and turns here and there, and they're pretty good when they come. I'll admit that. But for the most part, in RWBY, what you see is what you get. There's no in-depth story, there's no in-depth conspiracy, there's nothing really below the surface. And you know what? Maybe that'll change in the future. Maybe in Volume 6, it'll blow everyone out of the water. Or maybe 3 volumes down the line, it'll blow everyone out of the water. But at least for me right now, for me, RWBY has just kind of lost me. It's dragged its feet too long. It hasn't committed to whether it wants to be story or spectacle. And the small moments, the small good moments that it has, and let's admit, every volume has had those amazing moments, are kind of just too few and far between for me to just beat myself senseless trying to look for them. I know Volume 6 is coming up. I know the Adam character short is out. But I just don't know if I'm going to do the whole seasonal review thing on it. I have other things that I want to do, other things that I have wanted to do for years. But I've never been able to get around to it because, one, I've been lazy, because I am, and another is because RWBY season. And RWBY has taken up a lot of my YouTube time. And I'll admit, I've had some great times making RWBY videos and analyzing it when it was young. But now that it's almost into its sixth volume, it doesn't feel like there's any meat to this story. It just feels like I'm just snacking. I'm just snacking on this show. It's potato chips. It's good at times, yeah. It doesn't satisfy. So, conclusion. I want to come back to YouTube. I want to. However, my schedule probably isn't going to be like it was before, where I upload like a big type video every week. It probably won't be that way. I would like for it to maybe be that way, but we'll just have to wait and see. I don't think I'm going to be concentrating on RWBY stuff as hardcore as I did before. There may be a video here and there about me talking about one aspect of the show or something like that. But as of right now, I'm kind of just burnt out with RWBY. And maybe later on I'll talk about how it kind of translated, my burnout of RWBY kind of translated into a burnout from Rooster Teeth. And you guys would like to see that, me explain how I'm kind of burnt out on Rooster Teeth. I'll do that video too. But if you're not, that's fine. But to anyone who's watching this, to anyone who has stayed subscribed, to anyone who has given a darn about this channel and about me, just want to say thank you. Thank you for the 5 to 6 years that I was on YouTube and I trucked along and I did the RWBY scene and I did all that. And I met some pretty cool people this way. I did. I wouldn't change this for anything. I wouldn't go back in time and say, hey, don't do RWBY videos. It's past me. I wouldn't. But to anyone who has like kind of stayed at this channel being like, well, he's the RWBY guy. He's going to do stuff about RWBY. It may be time for you to move on. You know, go to one of the other big RWBY guys that's more committed or what have you. Maybe I'll get back into RWBY later on, but as of right now, I kind of just have to do my own thing. So thank you if you stay, thank you if you leave, and just thank you in general. And with that off my chest, and I've been holding that on my chest for the past 7 months, I will see you guys next time I'm out there in YouTube land. I'll see you then.